About the author. Michelle Foale studied psychology at a crappy online university that she deeply regrets attending. She loves plants and cats. Also, she loves to smoke marijuana and write short books that are inherently idiotic and unnecessary while offering very little value to society. She aspires to one day write a guide to writing, though has little experience in writing anything other than lengthy, meaningless school papers and satirical shitpieces. Refinding Happiness. It is somewhere, I guess. What does it mean to be happy? That is what most self-help books ask. I am asking a slightly different question. Were we ever happy to begin with? Can we refind happiness? Or is it a mythical unicorn that does not exist, much akin to Bigfoot, Around Earth, or the G-Spot? In the next however many the fuck pages I feel like talking about it, let us explore common methods to find happiness. Or in this case, like the title of this stupid book says, Refinding Happiness. Let us do that. The answer is probably out there somewhere, I guess. Part 1. Childhood Memories and Happiness. As we journey through life, we often find ourselves looking back on our past experiences, particularly on our dumb childhood. Childhood is a time of wonder, innocence, and exploration, and many of us hold cherished memories of our younger years. Looking back on these memories of childhood happiness can bring a sense of comfort, joy, and even inspiration to our present-day shitty lives. When I was a child, I used to find a sense of magic in watching fireflies at night. I used to run free in the woods without much care for the troubles that I have now, and I used to be feral, like a cat. I used to eat birds and throw stones at other children. This made me happy. The first question we must explore is, can this make us happy again? Would it bring us any amount of happiness to run naked through the woods once more like feral adult cats or eat raw birds and throw stones at children? For some of us, childhood happiness may be tied to specific events or experiences. It may be the memory of a family vacation, a dumb birthday party, or a special moment with a friend or family member. For others, it may be the simple pleasures of everyday life, such as playing outside, reading a favorite book, or enjoying recreational drugs and stunting our development. Just like that time I ate lead paint chips. Remember vacations? Who can afford that kind of shit these days? I can barely afford a trip to the grocery store. Another question we must ask ourselves regarding vacations as adults are they really any fun anymore? With planning, plane tickets, rental cars, gas costs, hotels, etc., all being just a huge fucking hassle that was our parents' problem, not ours. Is it even fun to have a birthday party? I think I would just rather be high on recreational drugs. That is at least a guaranteed fun time. Then again, the question must arise. Do recreational drugs bring us true happiness? I mean, happiness lasting longer than like 8 hours or so, depending on how high you get. No matter what stupid memories come to mind, reflecting on childhood happiness can be a powerful way to connect with our inner selves and remind ourselves of how fucking naive we were. It can also be a way to process and heal from any pain or retardation we may have experienced during our formative years. When I was a child, they put lead in the gasoline. I am not trying to be insulting, but I definitely have some kind of retardation going on. It is my firm belief that we all do. However, how well can we reconnect to our inner selves and find the child within, which is admittedly much easier to do if you are pregnant, statistically speaking, but fuck having children. That does not lead to happiness. I mean, unless having kids makes you happy, loser. At the same time we ponder these memories and ideas, it's important to recognize that childhood is not always a time of happiness for everyone. Some of us may have experienced difficult or challenging circumstances during our younger years, such as abuse, neglect, boomer music, or poverty. For those individuals, looking back on childhood may bring up painful memories and emotions. To those people, I would address that maybe happiness cannot be found through careful study and reflection on the innocence of our youth. Perhaps growing up and having such fond memories of our childhood is just another way to cope with how the world now seems to constantly want to fuck us in the pooper without consent, or the courtesy of a cheap dinner and a shitty MCU movie. Despite these challenges, however, it's important to remember that happiness can still be found in the present moment. At least that is what I'm trying to sell you on in this book. Do I believe it? Who the fuck knows, right? However, by acknowledging and processing any difficult experiences from our past, we can move forward with greater clarity, strength, and resilience, supposedly. So let's take a moment to reflect on our own memories of childhood happiness. Unless you'd rather not, then just skip ahead to the next chapter or something. I'm not your mom. Let's celebrate the moments that brought us joy and remind ourselves of the supposed beauty and wonder of the current toilet-like world we call home. Unless you are homeless, then there's like a whole other book you should read before this. Anyway, let's use these memories to inspire us to seek out happiness and joy in our present-day lives, no matter what challenges we may face. Unless they're like challenges that require effort, we should probably just take the easiest route, right? Anyone want to light up a joint before we go any further? Fuck it, I'm doing it. Now that I'm a little buzzed, let's begin our first mental exercise. Don't worry, you don't need to stretch that unused brain of yours too much. Let's begin by having a look into our past. Well, more specifically, your past. What is something that brings a positive memory to your mind of when you were a child? Is it anything mentioned above, or is it something intangible and abstract? Is it a feeling that you can recall? Something I constantly ask myself is, how did I get from being a child to the point I am in life now? The most common answer I come up with is, of course, time. It is also the most obvious answer. Time makes us sad, doesn't it? Time is like a sad clown with a meth addiction that it just can't seem to kick. The passage of time seems to grow exponentially from when we are children to adults. Personally, I remember an hour feeling like forever. Nowadays, an hour just passed, and all I did was stare at the ceiling and fart loud enough to scare my cat. I feel that the secret key to refinding happiness is to find a way to slow down time. Marijuana does this pretty effectively. However, as sad and truthful as it is, we mere humans cannot be high all the time. We can certainly try. However, it gets expensive. Therefore, we must once again return to the topic of rekindling childhood happiness. What can we take from our long-lost childhood and bring into our current lives without being put on a sex offender list? Can we find the magic again to sit in a field and watch fireflies without getting bored and fucking off after about 10 minutes or so? Can we remember who we used to be, the carefree nature of our youth, and try to incorporate that into our shittier, older lives? Does reliving memories in our mind-head theater bring us happiness? Or does it just simply bring us more sadness? I don't know, honestly. This is your exercise. How does it feel? Is it working? Are you happier yet? If you are, great. But there's still more book to go, so just remember that kids die of cancer every day and it's really fucking sad. Sorry, I had to put you back in your place. I'm not done yet, and with these kinds of books, it's supposed to be like a big reveal at the end, and you're kinda fucking with the process. So chill, okay? If I were a betting woman, I would say that happiness can be found in the past. If we spent time remembering the good times, and I truly hope that there are good times to remember for everyone, at least at some point, then it can cheer us up for a time. Just like everything else in life, it is not permanent. However, that does not mean that it is not worth it to engage in the activity. I would wager that a few seconds of happiness is worth something in a life that often feels sad. So, like a rabid squirrel looking for something to fuck before it dies in a frothy rage, let's explore another topic that might bring us happiness. Part 2. Exercise and Healthy Eating. It is widely recognized that regular exercise and healthy eating habits are essential for maintaining good physical health. However, these habits also have a significant impact on our mental and emotional well-being. Exercise and a balanced diet are proven to improve mood, reduce stress, and increase feelings of happiness and fulfillment, which is something you already know. At least, I am sure it is something that you have heard ad nauseum to the point that it is well past worn out. Like that time my grandfather tried to be frugal and kept using the same condom for 6 months, and my mother was magically born some months after. I don't know the specifics. Stop trying to pry into my grandparents' sex life, creep. Moving along with the bullshittery, numerous studies have shown that exercise can have a significant positive impact on mental health. Exercise supposedly releases endorphins, not to be confused with dolphins, which are chemicals in the brain that create feelings of happiness and well-being. It also helps to reduce stress, anxiety, and depression, which are all common causes of poor mental health. Being a human who exists in the year 2023, life is all about stress, anxiety, and depression. The world is literally on fire, or a natural disaster is hitting somewhere every other day. It is early February, and there have been tornadoes for the past 3 days in the South. I, personally, cannot think of a single person who is a model of mental well-being. Even people who do stupid shit like run for fun or like yoga or whatever it is that is only good for practicing sex positions are all having mental disturbances and issues. It is said, by people, that exercise has been shown to improve self-esteem and confidence, as well as provide a sense of achievement and purpose. It can also improve cognitive function and memory, leading to increased focus, productivity, constipation, and creativity. By incorporating regular exercise into your routine, you can improve your mental health and overall happiness. Once again, we come to it, the topic of refinding happiness. If getting into a routine is the silver bullet into the butthole of a depressed werewolf, then why does it not seem to work despite the claims of just about everyone and every book that advocates for it? Were you truly happy the last time you did sustained days of workouts? Did it make you feel any better overall in terms of refinding happiness? I did a routine for a while, and it was more like, great, now my legs fucking hurt all day for weeks. I'm going to go eat some ice cream. The ice cream part made me temporarily happy until I realized I had effectively canceled the whole exercise thing. After that, I felt sad again. Kind of like when you kick a poodle for fun. They're fun to kick because they're all poofy and stupid, but then you remember they're also dogs. Regarding food, experts and assholes say that eating a balanced, nutritious diet has also been linked to improved mental health. A diet high in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean protein provides the nutrients necessary for optimal brain function. In contrast, a diet high in processed foods, saturated fats, and sugar can lead to inflammation in the brain, which can negatively impact mood and cognitive function. But let's face it, most of our cognitive functions are already fucked. What is a little inflammation when it comes to something magnificent as ice cream or cake? I'm sure I did much more damage to my brain that time I drank all night and woke up naked beneath the kitchen table, with my cat licking my ass cheek as my head rang like a bell struck by the hammer of the mighty god Thor himself. Also, have you seen the price of fruits? I could buy like 6 Snickers bars, and if you're looking for nutrition, that has nuts and shit in it. Furthermore, unhealthy eating habits have been linked to depression and anxiety. A diet that is high in processed foods and sugar can lead to spikes and crashes in blood sugar levels, leading to mood swings and irritability. By choosing a diet rich in whole, nutrient-dense foods, you can maintain stable blood sugar levels and support your mental and emotional well-being. With that said, who isn't irritable? If you aren't a bit irritable right now with all the dumb shit going on in the world, then I think you're probably a robot of some kind, or an alien, or one of those lizard alien people. If you are one of those people, you are probably happy and you do not need to read this, so just stop. Stop reading shit you don't need. This is for people who are trying to refind happiness, not invade our government and force us to eat tiger penis. With that said, it does bring me some happiness to be irritable towards people. Once again, and as usual, it is fleeting. But that kind of blows a huge hole in the entire fact thing I wrote earlier. By combining regular exercise with a balanced, nutritious diet, you can create a positive cycle of physical and mental well-being. Exercise provides the energy and motivation necessary to make healthy food choices, while a healthy diet provides the nutrients necessary for optimal physical performance during exercise. Basically, supposedly, exercise and healthy eating habits are essential for maintaining good physical health. However, their impact on mental and emotional well-being is just as significant. Exercise and a balanced diet have been shown to improve mood, reduce stress, make you gassy as fuck, and increase feelings of happiness and fulfillment. By incorporating regular exercise and healthy eating habits into your routine, you can support your mental and emotional well-being and improve your overall quality of life. So, to quote a famous philosopher, like my scrotum, here it is in a nutshell. Exercise and healthy eating can make you theoretically happy. In the same way that there is a non-zero chance that if I repeatedly attempt to push a pencil through a table on a long enough time frame, it might pass through and fall onto the ground on the other side. Don't worry if you don't understand that, moron. It's a quantum physics thing. I think. Anyway, back to the point. Does it really make you happy? Is this really how we refind happiness? Life experience says, probably fucking not. I mean, sure, you could be one of those people that get into the lifestyle and never touch anything that isn't green and resembles rabbit food and do like 4K runs every week while snorting copious amounts of cocaine. But is it truly something that is going to work for everyone? Probably not, at least from experience. Most people are like, fuck this, it sucks, I'm going to go watch TV. Then again, does even watching television make people happy anymore? Have you seen Amazon's Rings of Power shit show? Sweet corn-eating Jesus, they spent like $1 billion on it, and I think it gave me a traumatic brain injury. I don't care if you like it. It's my book and my opinions. Fuck your mother. Sorry, that was rude. Getting back to the topic. Fuck, I've lost it. Oh, okay. Does it create lasting happiness? Much like the childhood memory thing, much like everything in life, it probably creates some duration of happiness. So, essentially, the question is still out in the wild. How do we create true and lasting re-happiness? Let's move along to some other ideas. Also, sorry again about your mother. I'm sure she's wonderful. Also, you have to remember I'm high and irritable in my attempts to bring you a concise answer to happiness. So I'm really the one doing you a favor here. So fuck your mother. Speaking of, let us grab some ice cream, more weed, and explore the wonderful world of... Part 3. Hobbies and Happiness. Like sexually transmitted diseases, hobbies can be vast and cover a lot of ground. In this section on our journey, let's look at a few of the more popular avenues of hobbies that may lead to our gained overall general sense of well-being and accomplishment. Video games, movies, and books. Video games can make you happier in several ways. For example, playing games can provide a generally false but addictive sense of achievement and satisfaction when completing challenging levels or achieving high scores. This can boost confidence and self-esteem while lowering actual productivity. Also, playing games with friends or online can provide a sad sense of social connection and belonging. Additionally, video games can serve as a way to unwind and escape from the stresses of daily life, providing relaxation and a temporary distraction from problems. Finally, video games can be a source of fun and entertainment, which can contribute to an overall positive mood and sense of enjoyment. I love video games. As a daily driver, nothing gives me more pleasure in life than to load up GTA 5 and steal a car and mow down a huge line of pedestrians. It brings me moments of maniacal happiness, and it makes me laugh when people go flying over the hood and into traffic. I will probably never do this in real life because that would lead to unwanted consequences like jail or the possibility of feeling slight guilt. However, video games are a wonderful form of escapism. Do they provide happiness? In your life, can you boot up a game and blow off some steam and feel happy about it? Maybe you could log into the newest Call of Duty game and shout obscenities at 14-year-olds who will shout racist and homophobic slurs back. I'm not judging, I'm just asking. Is this fun? Or do you sometimes play for hours and realize it is a bit late and you've not accomplished much in your real life? I mean, real life sucks, so I can't honestly say if a video game accomplishment is worse or better than a real one. Regardless, I feel that running over pedestrians in any game should always bring people happiness and an overall sense of accomplishment. Movies can also make you happier in several ways. Firstly, watching movies can serve as a form of entertainment, providing a break from daily routines and responsibilities. This can help to alleviate stress and promote relaxation. Secondly, movies can evoke a range of emotions, from joy and laughter to sadness and empathy, which can help us connect with our feelings and deepen our understanding of ourselves and others. Thirdly, movies can serve as a source of idiotic inspiration, motivating us blindly to pursue our goals and dreams. Additionally, movies can provide a sense of community and shared experience, particularly when watching with friends or family. Overall, movies have the power to enhance our mood, broaden our perspectives, and bring joy into our lives. Fourthly, with that said, movies can also make our lives shittier. That is just a general blanket statement because a lot of the movies I have watched lately have been derivative shitfests. I think that the last movie produced recently that actually made me feel something deep and meaningful was random porn, where I saw a woman take a 9-inch cock fully into her ass. The feeling welling up inside of me was slight discomfort. That's a lot of dick for one ass. I still masturbated to it though, so take what you will from that. Like video games, movies can give us a sense of taking a break from reality, though it is in a generally more condensed time frame. What films make you happy? When you are feeling unhappy, is there a specific film that can turn your day around? Is it porn? It's okay if it is, I'm not here to judge. Unless it's that daddy-daughter shit, then I'm here to judge. You need to stop with the incest shit. That's just fucked up. I apologize to the populations of Tennessee, the Ozark lands of Missouri, Georgia, and the other more unique states amongst us, but you all need to quit it with the incest thing. We're not in the UK. Look at all those funny-looking motherfuckers. Do you want our country to end up like that too? Go be a furry instead. That's at least kind of cute. In a little creepy way. Oh shit, sorry, I'm not here to judge. I'm high, irritable from the high-caloric mint chocolate ice cream, and lost again in another state of ranting about what makes me unhappy due to the mental fog from not keeping up with my exercise routine. After all, I'm writing a guide to happiness, aren't I? You didn't come here to be judged for incest and cousin fucking. Unless you did. Did you? Anyway, a movie that I enjoy is Happiness of the Katakuris. It's foreign, so you probably will not watch it because you're a fucking plebe. Also, it involves reading subtitles, which I'm pretty sure only 1/3 of the people staring or listening to this are actually capable of. Illiterate fucks. Oh, here's a fun joke. Why did R. Kelly believe that he could fly? He never read that he couldn't. He couldn't read. Back to my pointless recommendation. It explores the theme of happiness in a way that I've not seen in American films. You should look into that, even though we both know you won't. Reading books can make you allegedly happier in several ways. For example, books can serve as a form of escapism, allowing you to immerse yourself in a different world and forget about your worries and stressors. Secondly, reading books can provide a sense of achievement and personal growth, as you learn new ideas and expand your knowledge. This can boost self-esteem and confidence. Thirdly, reading can serve as a form of self-care, promoting relaxation and reducing feelings of anxiety and depression. Additionally, books can provide a sense of connection and empathy, as we relate to the experiences and emotions of the characters we read about. Overall, reading books can promote happiness, personal growth, and a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Reflecting on books, is there anything comfier than curling up with your favorite novel in your favorite chair in the afternoon, with the sunlight hitting your naked body as a stranger pees down the gentle curve of your back? I oft find naught can match the experience. Just like the aforementioned video games and movies, books can be a chance to live in another world and experience new thoughts and ideas that differ from your own. Unless you are a diehard Twilight fan in your mid to late 40s. I know you are still out there. You are still reading the same genre you've been stuck on for the past 14 or however the fuck many years it has been. You deserve your sadness. You've earned it like a badge. Only the badge is a teenage angst-filled cum stain that sits right above your empty ink-black heart. Team Jacob, Team Edward, more like Team Go Fuck Yourself. When reading books, it can be a great thing to step out of your typical genre or comfort zone. You're not Temple Grandin. Get out of your fucking hug box. Here I am judging again. Maybe the secret to happiness is being judgmental. When it comes to media, people seem very divisive on what they like and will often defend it in a nearly rabid state. People will often attack anyone who says anything negative about their favorite product and shit on what other people like. Just like I do. Does that make people happy? Does that make you happy? Let us remind ourselves why we are here. To refind happiness. If asked for a recommendation, which I know you can't technically ask, you're reading and this isn't a discussion, so shut the fuck up and give John Krakauer's Into the Wild a try. If you're looking for a detailed study into finding happiness and how the societal obligations that we face might cause us to possibly feel a bit shitty, then this is a great read. We both know you won't do it, but it's okay. Ultimately, on the three passive hobbies of video games, film, and books, what we honestly gain is escapism. Escapism can be an addictive force as it removes our thoughts away from the shittiness of our current world, situation, and employment and promises to take us somewhere different, somewhere we find ideal. Some people find that ideal world in fantasy or sci-fi. Others find it in hardcore erotica involving human-dolphin sexual relationships, or descriptive and graphic stories about getting pounded in the ass by a velociraptor. Others find it in car porn films like Fast and the Furious, which I could easily use to describe my last 3 sexual encounters. While others find it in superhero-filled CGI messes with the same goddamn story in nearly every fucking movie. Regardless of what we enjoy, it provides escapism. This brings us to the question that I keep asking. Does it make us happy? Or, once again, is it a fleeting sense of happiness that leaves when the movie, book, or film ends, or shortly thereafter? When the cum dries or our panties are no longer moist, should we take a look toward more active hobbies for happiness? Art has the potential to bring us happiness in many ways. Creating art can be a powerful form of self-expression, allowing us to connect with our emotions and thoughts in a meaningful way and express them in many different mediums. This too can lead to a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. Experiencing art, whether it be through visiting a museum or gallery, attending a concert or performance, or simply admiring a piece of art, can evoke a range of emotions, from joy and awe to contemplation and abject horror. This can help us to connect with our emotions and deepen our understanding of ourselves and others. Also, art can serve as a form of connection and community, bringing people together and fostering a sense of shared experience and appreciation. Overall, art has the power to enhance our mood, promote self-expression and personal growth, and bring beauty and meaning into our lives. With that said, fuck it. You could learn to paint or draw, but you're getting replaced by AI in the next 3 years at a minimum. I might even use AI to create the cover of this book if I knew how to use it. In a way, even 3D printing might surpass the ability of sculptors and other forms of artistic expression. Whether this makes art more accessible is a good debate to have. Then again, I've seen an installation of a toilet with a signature on it. So was art ever not accessible? Look at some of the modern art shit, like squares and whatnot. I bet an AI could easily do that, but it would be like, what's the fucking point? Why should I bother? I can create the Mona Lisa nude straddling atop Benjamin Franklin's fat cock, while fire-breathing dinosaurs battle to the death in the background of my epic painting. If I were an AI, I would choose the latter and say fuck it, let the humans draw their shitty squares. Personally, I would definitely pay to go to a museum or gallery with that image blown up to the size of majestic proportions. I'd even hang that shit up on my wall. I also suppose that inevitably AI would start making music as well. Though I feel that going to concerts will be more disappointing when it's just like a computer setup and some speakers blasting some AI-generated shit. Ultimately, I feel that it is the act of creating art that can make us happy, that the sense of fulfillment and satisfaction comes from spending time doing something and having something to show for it. I believe that there is an artist in everyone, and most people just haven't found what they're good at yet. If you've never given sculpting with clay a try, do it. If you suck at it, then at least you could sculpt a dick and have something to laugh about. Give painting a try. If you suck at it, eat the paint. It'll be the most colorful bowel movement you've ever had. If COVID has fucked your sense of community, then art communities are great, as long as they're not full of pretentious fuckwots. Can you think of any artistic activity that could bring you happiness? Would you be willing to give it a try? You should before the AI overlords come and make you their slaves or find that you are useless and kill you. So, within the next 3 years or so, probably. Sex. Sex could have its own part, but let us put it under hobbies. Most of us are doing it for fun anyway, right? After all, as I said before, having kids does not lead to lasting happiness. To drive that point home a little further, any new parent who says they are happy, they are lying both to you and themselves. Kids are dumb. I mean, seriously, my cats understand object permanence. What the fuck is their excuse? Now to the meat of how sex can make you happier. Sex can make you happier in many ways. Firstly, intentional error. I have the humor of a 12-year-old. Sexual activity can release endorphins, again not to be confused with dolphins, which are chemicals that promote feelings of pleasure and well-being. This can lead to an increased sense of happiness and satisfaction. Sex can promote intimacy and connection with a partner, which can contribute to a sense of emotional fulfillment and closeness. If you don't have a human partner, there is no shortage of alternatives. There are dildos, pocket pussies, old-fashioned masturbation techniques. Finally, sexual activity can help to reduce stress and anxiety, providing a sense of relaxation and calmness. Additionally, sex can serve as a form of self-expression and exploration, allowing us to connect with our bodies and desires. Overall, sex can promote happiness, intimacy, and overall well-being. While I love sex, even when it's with myself or with a minimum of 11 other people and one wild hog, it can also be a cause for depression. Anyone who's experienced the sadness of a 5-pump chump that you found while getting drunk in a dump can attest to the lump of underwhelming feelings as you clean up the condom clump and sneak out the back door. Careful not to make a crump, can relate. Sex, even when great, is just like a lot of happy events in life. Fleeting. STDs can be forever. Remember that. I mean, you're going to do what you're going to do. I'm not your mom. I'm just saying. Let's move along, shall we? Other hobbies. There are so many hobbies out there. I cannot possibly list them all. A lot of hobbies will leave you feeling happier, hopefully. Anything, and I mean absolutely anything, can be a hobby. Like shoving things up your ass? Probably a hobby. Like watching birds? Definitely a hobby. Are recreational drugs a hobby? That's a good question. The culture around it would make it seem as such. Let's say yes, drugs are a hobby. Whatever you do in your spare time that you feel brings you happiness, even if it's short-lived, is a hobby. Your grandmother is not a hobby. She is a person. I just thought I should add something in there that was not a hobby. Moving out of the hobbies category, let's move on to something extremely popular in the self-help market, and that is Part 5. Medications. Medications have been an integral part of the healthcare industry for decades, making pharmaceutical companies retarded amounts of fuck you money, and they have played a crucial role in improving the quality of life for millions of people worldwide. One of the many benefits of medications is their ability to positively impact our mental health and well-being, ultimately making us happier. In this part of our journey to find happiness, we will explore how medications can make us happier and discuss some of the different types of medications that are commonly used for this purpose. One of the primary ways that medications can make us happier is by treating mental health conditions such as depression and anxiety. Depression is a prevalent mental health condition that affects millions of people worldwide, and it is often characterized by feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and a lack of interest in activities that were once enjoyable. Basically unhappiness, but in a lot more other words. Medications such as selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, and serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, SNRIs, are commonly used to treat depression and can help to improve mood, reduce anxiety, and increase energy levels. Similarly, medications such as benzodiazepines and beta blockers are used to treat anxiety disorders and can help to reduce feelings of worry and fear, promoting a more relaxed and positive state of mind. Concerning mental health, I'm not going to say much. In all seriousness, I have been on a journey to find mental stability that I am sure a lot of people can relate to all too easily. SSRIs have sent me to the emergency room multiple times, and SNRIs have triggered weird personal effects such as complete dissociation. Though what does not work for me has worked for others in terms of what each individual considers success and improvements toward their quality of life. If I have one overall criticism of the pharmaceutical industry, aside from them being complete shitlords who value money over lives and actual cures, it is the let's throw shit at the wall and see what sticks approach to the treatment of depression, anxiety, or any other mental disorder. When I was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, I went through so many different medications that I cannot recall half of the names. Eventually, I was given benzodiazepines in the form of clonazepam. It has worked for its part, though the side effects of ever getting off of the drug are terrifying. I've heard that it is worse than coming off of heroin with its fair share of seizures, risk of death, and all kinds of unpleasant side effects. Most people who do end up getting off of benzodiazepines eventually do return because the anxiety issues do not resolve. Ultimately, do medications make people happier? For me, yes and no. I think the answer would be as equally complex depending on the individual. Would you consider medication to help you find happiness? While I do find hope in treatments such as medically administered large doses of psilocybin or other once taboo drugs, who knows how long of a wait it will be until it gets out of its testing phase and becomes readily available, if it ever does, and will it be too late? The answer to happiness, true happiness, I don't believe can be found in the medications we take or do not take. As the great philosopher Plato once said, pharmaceutical companies are like douchebags on steroids. They go to the gym and act like complete assholes and brag about how much they can bench. However, at the end of the day, they go home and stare at their tiny dicks for hours and hours on end, and they don't quite know why they do it. They just stand there, naked in front of the mirror, and stare at their small, golden, raisin-like balls and meek shaft with the tiny little mushroom-tipped head and cry. The whole collection of corporations do this. They cry at the size of their tiny dicks. For in those many moments of daily self-reflection, the truth hits them like one of Japan's bullet trains. They have micropenises, and this makes them excruciatingly fucking sad. However, as Plato famously continued, you shouldn't be sad for them. You should laugh, because all that fuck you money can never fix having a micropenis. Part 5. Medications. Medications have been an integral part of the healthcare industry for decades, making pharmaceutical companies retarded amounts of fuck you money, and they have played a crucial role in improving the quality of life for millions of people worldwide. One of the many benefits of medications is their ability to positively impact our mental health and well-being, ultimately making us happier. In this part of our journey to find happiness, we will explore how medications can make us happier and discuss some of the different types of medications that are commonly used for this purpose. One of the primary ways that medications can make us happier is by treating mental health conditions such as depression and anxiety. Depression is a prevalent mental health condition that affects millions of people worldwide, and it is often characterized by feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and a lack of interest in activities that were once enjoyable. Basically unhappiness, but in a lot more other words. Medications such as selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, and serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, SNRIs, are commonly used to treat depression and can help to improve mood, reduce anxiety, and increase energy levels. Similarly, medications such as benzodiazepines and beta blockers are used to treat anxiety disorders and can help to reduce feelings of worry and fear, promoting a more relaxed and positive state of mind. Concerning mental health, I'm not going to say much. In all seriousness, I have been on a journey to find mental stability that I am sure a lot of people can relate to all too easily. SSRIs have sent me to the emergency room multiple times, and SNRIs have triggered weird personal effects such as complete dissociation. Though what does not work for me has worked for others in terms of what each individual considers success and improvements toward their quality of life. If I have one overall criticism of the pharmaceutical industry, aside from them being complete shitlords who value money over lives and actual cures, it is the let's throw shit at the wall and see what sticks approach to the treatment of depression, anxiety, or any other mental disorder. When I was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, I went through so many different medications that I cannot recall half of the names. Eventually, I was given benzodiazepines in the form of clonazepam. It has worked for its part, though the side effects of ever getting off of the drug are terrifying. I've heard that it is worse than coming off of heroin with its fair share of seizures, risk of death, and all kinds of unpleasant side effects. Most people who do end up getting off of benzodiazepines eventually do return because the anxiety issues do not resolve. Ultimately, do medications make people happier? For me, yes and no. I think the answer would be as equally complex depending on the individual. Would you consider medication to help you find happiness? While I do find hope in treatments such as medically administered large doses of psilocybin or other once taboo drugs, who knows how long of a wait it will be until it gets out of its testing phase and becomes readily available, if it ever does, and will it be too late? The answer to happiness, true happiness, I don't believe can be found in the medications we take or do not take. As the great philosopher Plato once said, pharmaceutical companies are like douchebags on steroids. They go to the gym and act like complete assholes and brag about how much they can bench. However, at the end of the day, they go home and stare at their tiny dicks for hours and hours on end, and they don't quite know why they do it. They just stand there, naked in front of the mirror, and stare at their small, golden, raisin-like balls and meek shaft with the tiny little mushroom-tipped head and cry. The whole collection of corporations do this. They cry at the size of their tiny dicks. For in those many, many moments of daily self-reflection, the truth hits them like one of Japan's bullet trains. They have micropenises, and this makes them excruciatingly fucking sad. However, as Plato famously continued, you shouldn't be sad for them. You should laugh, because all that fuck you money can never fix having a micropenis. Part 6. Reading Self-Help Books and Happiness. Reading self-help books can be a last-ditch tool in improving our mental health and overall sense of well-being. Self-help books are designed to provide guidance and inspiration, siphon money from vulnerable readers, and give practical tips for personal growth and development. Also, they can offer useless insights and strategies for managing stress, increasing self-esteem, and achieving supposed happiness. In this part, we will explore how reading self-help books can make us happier and discuss some of the key ways in which they can have a positive impact on our mental health. Or, in this case, a possible negative one. Are you feeling all right? Sorry I keep telling you to fuck your mother. We are earnestly just trying to figure out your happiness here. If I offended you so far, it was probably by accident, but also your fault. One of the primary ways that reading self-help books can make us happier is by providing us with a sense of empowerment and control. Many, but not this one, self-help books focus on teaching readers practical skills and strategies for managing their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, which can help to increase feelings of self-efficacy and resilience. By learning how to cope with the fact that they spent money on something that is probably like 90% bullshit, and with the addition of confronting the reader with challenging situations and processes to regulate our emotions effectively, we can feel more confident and empowered, which can ultimately lead to a greater sense of happiness and well-being. If enough copies are purchased, it can lead to an even greater sense of happiness and well-being for the author. Additionally, reading self-help books can help us to develop a more positive mindset and outlook on life, though, once again, not this one. Many self-help books are based on positive psychology principles, which emphasize the importance of cultivating positive emotions such as gratitude, optimism, and hope. However, in 2023, there is little hope, sparse gratitude, and whittling optimism. By reading books that focus on these themes, we can begin to shift our perspective and develop a more positive mindset, which can help us feel happier and more fulfilled. This being said, you should probably read a book that does this for you. However, unless you stop, you're kinda stuck. You lucky turd, you. It is worth noting that while reading self-help books can be an effective tool for improving our shit mental health and overall sense of well-being, it is essential to approach them with a critical and discerning eye, or even two eyes if you still have both of them. Not all self-help books are created equal, and some may make unrealistic or unfounded promises. It is important to do research and seek out books that are based on sound research and offer practical, evidence-based strategies. For example, remember that super popular book, The Secret? I didn't read it because reading is for nerds and I'm illiterate as fuck. However, I remember it was about if you believed something into existence, it would come into your life. Some happy times fuckwit games, like if I imagine and believe that this $1 million will appear strongly enough, then it will. Which is clever, honestly. It blames the reader because if shit doesn't start happening, well, fuck you, you didn't believe hard enough. Believe harder, loser. That was a self-help book that sold probably 1 billion copies and even had a movie. I never watched the movie. I hear movies are never as good as the book, and it sounded stupid anyway. In conclusion, regarding consumption of non-edible self-help books, they can make us happier by providing us with a sense of false empowerment and control, helping us to develop a more naively positive mindset and offering a source of hubris that someone else definitely has the answer that will somehow fix our shit. By reading books that are based on fancy-sounding research and offer practical strategies, we can harness the limp power of self-help literature to improve our mental health and overall quality of life. I've honestly not read many self-help books. I know people that have, and I know that they are popular. If it works to make you any happier, then great. I am not going to knock it any further than I have, despite this entire project being a satire of the genre, but no further than that. I just have my reservations that reading a book that has the power to fix people permanently is not entirely credible. I mean, from my admittedly ignorant point of view, if self-help books worked and functioned as they were meant to, then there would only be like 20 self-help books out there. 20 different ones that covered different subjects, and there would only be new ones for when new issues came up. As it stands, it seems more like a cash grab. Like how many times Naughty Dog has remastered The Last of Us and charged autistic prices for the same damn game with just a bit more shiny water or some dumb shit. I mean, not to sound dismissive of the genre, but there are a lot of people whose lives have been royally fucked by the pandemic, economic hardships, and just really shitty times lately. It seems like people really need to find a sense of happiness or whatever it is that will help them feel better, and there are a lot of shit peddlers out there. I should know. I am a bona fide shit peddler. But at least I hope you can laugh at this one. Or get offended. Fuck if I know your sensibilities. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I don't even know how to live my own life. I'm just trying to find out what happiness means and how our lives can benefit from it. Also, fuck your mother. Part 7. Volunteering and Happiness. Who would have guessed that giving back to the community could bring happiness? Volunteering is a way of giving back to society and making a positive impact in the lives of others. It is a selfless act that we usually do to feel good about ourselves, so therefore it is somewhat selfish, which brings numerous benefits to the volunteer and sometimes the community that they serve. Volunteering can be an incredibly rewarding experience if you're into that kind of shit, and can help people feel happier, more fulfilled, and connected to their communities. With the caveat that the community is worth being connected to. I see a lot of Trump flags lately in my community, and I'm just kind of like, fuck, this place is stupid. Personally, I have thought about moving to improve my happiness, but I look around at the country and I keep saying the same thing. Shit is stupid everywhere. One of the primary ways volunteering can make people happier is by providing a sense of purpose, meaning, and self-righteousness. When people volunteer, they are contributing to a cause or organization that they care about, and their efforts make a difference in the lives of others. Also, their farts become enjoyable to smell, and the act of sniffing one's own fart can become quite an addictive rush. This, amongst other things, can be a powerful motivator and can give people a sense of accomplishment and pride. Knowing that their actions are making a positive impact can increase feelings of self-worth and satisfaction. Volunteering can also provide a sense of belonging and connection to others. Working with hive-minded individuals who share a passion for a particular cause can create a sense of community and camaraderie. Volunteers often develop strong friendships with other volunteers, staff members, or beneficiaries, which can provide a sense of social support and reduce feelings of loneliness or isolation. This connection can be particularly important for people who are new to an area or who are looking to expand their social circle. While probably true, I only volunteer at cat shelters. I hate the people I volunteer with because they keep asking me to do stuff, and I just want to play in the kitten room with the kittens. I do not doubt that forming relationships with like-minded people with the same values and passions as I do can reduce loneliness and isolation. My relationships are with cats, though, and not people. I have the same values and passions as cats. I love naps, I like to fuck with shit, and knocking over things is fun. I'm indifferent to the people. That is where I find some amount of happiness. In addition to providing a sense of purpose and connection, volunteering can also help people develop new pointless skills and vapid interests. Volunteers often gain some experience and knowledge that can be applied to their personal or professional lives. This can lead to increased self-confidence and a sense of personal growth. Learning new things and taking on new challenges can also be exciting and sexually stimulating, which can contribute to feelings of happiness and glory holification. Working for the experience is kind of a shit term. The cynical side of me feels like it's a way to get free labor. Kind of like when a stranger asks to photograph you nude and you're like, all right, how much? And they answer, for exposure and experience. I'm going to say no, of course. You could have at least offered an Arby's chicken bacon Swiss and some curly fries. Also, if you already have a professional life, where do you find the time to volunteer? If I work an 8-hour day, I can hardly work up enough energy to diddle myself in the bathtub. My final thoughts about it: volunteering can be a powerful tool that can help people feel happier and more fulfilled. By providing a sense of purpose and belonging, developing new skills and interests, and reducing stress, volunteering can contribute to overall well-being and happiness. For those looking to improve their mood and make a positive impact in their communities, volunteering is an acceptable place to start. Has volunteering ever made you happy? I feel like volunteering is for people right before they graduate college or right before they enter the nursing home. I'm sure that doing good makes people feel good. Does it bring true happiness? Overall, though I shat on it for a good while, volunteering is noble. I think it's fine. For me, it never really left me feeling particularly fulfilled or furthered my sense of happiness. Also, when COVID hit, they didn't let me play with the cats anymore, and that was shit. I mean, I had my own cats at home to play with, but there can never be enough cats to play with. It's just like pot. You can never have too much pot. You can certainly smoke too much pot, but you can never have too much stashed away. Part 8. Cats. No, not the musical. I saw about 20 minutes of the movie version, and that shit made me feel like I was living a fever dream and I had to turn it off. Though I would watch a butthole edition. In our search for happiness, let's explore adopting cats. I guess we could have done dogs as well, but yeah, no. They don't even get their own part. I apologize. I mean, whatever, really. I like cats. Get over it. Owning a cat can bring a lot of joy and happiness to your life. First and foremost, cats are known for their affectionate nature and inherent lust for destruction. The unconditional love and companionship they offer can have a significant positive impact on your mental well-being, when they fucking feel like giving it. Spending time petting and playing with your cat can help reduce stress levels and promote relaxation, leading to a more peaceful and contented state of mind. In fact, studies have shown that interacting with cats can increase the production of feel-good hormones like oxytocin, crystal meth, and serotonin, which can help alleviate symptoms of depression and anxiety. The meth can also cause a severe case of zoomies. Additionally, owning a cat can provide a sense of purpose and responsibility, at least for the cat. This superficial sense of purpose can be especially beneficial for people who live alone or struggle with feelings of loneliness. Taking care of another living being can give you a sense of fulfillment and meaning, unless it is a human child, and it can help you feel more connected to the world around you. Cats also have a calming presence and can help create a peaceful and cozy atmosphere in your home, until they break a bunch of shit by being cute assholes, which can promote a sense of comfort and security. Overall, owning a cat can be a rewarding and uplifting experience that can significantly improve your mood and overall well-being. In conclusion, are cats the secret to happiness? Do their razor-sharp claws unlock the secret lock to the door of happiness in our voided hearts? I guess, sometimes. With that said, some of my saddest moments also revolve around cats. With a few other examples on our list of things to explore, they are prone to the sadness that time brings. Time makes them older and they live short lives. The average lifespan of a domesticated house cat is 12 to 18 years. I had a cat that lived a long life, from the cat's perspective, but left mine way too early. This has saddened me. It is the same kind of sadness I would equate to losing a parent, sibling, aunt, or uncle, if I actually cared about any of those bumblefuckers the same way that I do my cats. Ultimately, I cannot say that cats are the answer to refinding happiness, because their time is fleeting compared to ours. So, unfortunately, let us search for another topic. I think, though, one day I will get super high and watch the entirety of the movie Cats, and I will probably go clinically insane, but I think it'll be kinda fun. Part 9. Recreational Pot and Happiness. Sincerely, if you didn't see this part coming, you either require new glasses or you simply must get that elective lobotomy reversed. When marijuana is consumed, it interacts with the brain's endocannabinoid system, and this guy I know named Brian's endocannabinoid system, ironically enough, which regulates a wide range of functions, including mood, appetite, and pain sensation. One of the primary compounds in marijuana, tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, can bind to specific receptors in the brain, producing feelings of euphoria or happiness. So here it is, happiness. Well, also euphoria, but that's happiness's fancy pants cousin, right? Have we come to the end of our long, short journey and finally stumbled like a fumbled amputee monkey trying to catch all the bananas? Maybe. In addition, marijuana can also help reduce anxiety and stress, which can contribute to an overall sense of well-being and happiness. However, the effects of marijuana on happiness can vary depending on factors such as the person's mood, the dosage consumed, and the method of consumption. Further on consumption, I will never do edibles again. That is probably the only reliable fact in this book. Despite the jokes, my experience with recreational drugs is actually only limited to legal marijuana and occasional social drinking. With that said, I tried edibles a few years ago and it was a sheep fucking nightmare. I know I took too much. I remember trying to watch Mulan in an attempt to calm down with that good old Disney shit and freaking the fuck out because I did not remember there was a dog in Mulan and being like, what the fuck am I watching? I then proceeded to dry heave for hours and pace around the house like a stoned cat who ate too much catnip in an attempt to see Meowsis, the ever-living cat god. That was my first and only severe weed hangover, and I felt like the high was never going to end. Strictly smoking ever since. Thinking about that makes me feel a little unhappy, and still to this day I get apprehensive that the same kind of anxiety might come back. Does this mean I have not found the true source of happiness? It's important to note that while some people may experience a temporary increase in happiness when smoking pot, the long-term effects of marijuana on mental health are still not fully understood. Chronic use of marijuana can lead to dependency, cognitive impairment, and unironic enjoyment of the music group Dave Matthews Band, and also may exacerbate underlying mental health conditions such as depression or anxiety. So, like my cat's butthole, we have come full circle. When compared to our short exploration into medication, it seems that pot is just as conditional and dependent upon the person using it. Is it something that you depend on? How does it impact your life? And again, most importantly, does it make you happy? If it does, then for how long? I believe, that once again we have stumbled upon a temporary solution. I think it is finally time to stop this experiment in edging and finally just vaginally squirt out some ideas about happiness. However, before we fully blow our load, let's explore just one more topic. Part 10. What the fuck is sadness and why? Sadness, defined as the condition or quality of being sad, is often considered to be the mortal enemy of happiness, or to put it in simpler terms, the shit in the ice cream cake of joy that makes you not want to eat the cake anymore. Basically, how can we truly be happy if we are experiencing sadness? How can we ever be happy when the world seems to serve up copious amounts of sadness? Go turn on the news for 3 minutes. I'll wait. Did you lose any more faith in humanity? Do you have any more left? Did you have much to begin with? If you do, I'm a bit jealous. Firstly, let us ask a fundamentally stupid question. Why is sadness? Have you ever sat down to take a Taco Bell dump and asked yourself, why is sadness a thing? It is a fitting time to ask the question because a Taco Bell dump is a harbinger of sadness in its own right. Therapists, scientists, and other assholes often say that feelings such as anxiety and joy are evolutions from our days spent drawing cave paintings with handfuls of our caveman and cavewoman shit or whatever on rock walls because we were bored as fuck. Back in those horrible early days, anxiety was an important factor due to our fight-or-flight response to threatening stimuli in our environment, such as being aware that a giant bear was going to give us surprise anal right before eating our faces off. In that case, anxiety was helpful, because there would be a lot fewer of us if we did not flee from anal-loving, face-hungry bears. We developed social skills such as joy to show that what others did made us happy. Like when your cave child came to you and presented a turd statue of a bear with a ridiculously sized erection. It brought our cave minds joy. A little bit of disgust, maybe, but mostly joy. I can see how happiness played a part in early human life. When you found the right kind of berries and your cave neighbor didn't, it made you happy and you probably laughed because that was comedy back then. You would be like, "Hey everyone, come look, Bim Boom died today because he ate wrong berry." And everyone would be happy that they were still alive, and they'd have a good laugh because Bim Boom was kind of a creep who liked to stick his middle finger into the anus of wild dead boars. So, continuing on, evolutionarily speaking, one can appreciate most of the emotions that were developed by early human life and just how absolute shit it must have been. We do not have to like the outcomes of most of them, such as anxiety. Seriously, anxiety can just fuck off and we would probably be okay as a species as of today. At least I would be, I guess. Anyway, on topic. Why did we develop sadness and depression? What specific use did it have aside from showing others that we weren't fucking psychopaths when family members dropped dead from eating the wrong berries or were killed by velociraptors or some dumb shit? I can kind of explain that sadness was a way to show others that we did not like something they did. For example, like, "Hey Bromfimble, I know that it was a really shitty winter and we didn't have enough ripe berries or deer to eat, but I really did not appreciate you eating my baby. I'm sad about that." And then Bromfimble would be like, "Oh shit, my bad. I can see how that would make you sad, so next winter I will not eat your baby because you look sad and I don't like that." Then a fitting response would be generally like, "Don't worry about it, Bromfimble. We're in our mid-20s. Our lives are pretty much over anyway." Because back then, like I'm sure 24 was the equivalent to being 94. Like if you made it 30 as a cave person, people would be like, "What's your secret?" You wouldn't be able to answer because you'd probably drop dead right after. Essentially, though, sadness makes sense. However, not to the extent that it overpowers happiness. I feel that the ratio of happy to sad moments has not really improved over the many, many years. Depression, as an evolutionary trait, makes absolutely no sense at all. I fail to see what purpose it could have even served aside from being like, "Oh, great, I am getting eaten by the bear. Today is a complete loss. I had big plans to go see the new rock that everyone found on the east side of the field today. Guess I won't be doing that." Aside from some kind of coping mechanism for the acceptance of death, I don't get it. I mean, I have it, I just don't get it. Depression exists as a state of being that can last days, weeks, or months. It is an emotional state that I can find no redeeming quality within, aside from the fleeting musical charts from bands like My Chemical Romance or The Cure. But even then, it was like cool for a bit and I was just over it. Viewing depression from a more modern lens, I am not sure why it is so prevalent in the society we live in currently. Maybe it is due to a disconnection in social interactions brought on by the advent of technology like social media that offers us a fake sense of community. Or it could be a compounded issue brought about by isolation from the seemingly endless limitations imposed on us during the pandemic. However, depression was absolutely a big thing before that event. Though I would argue that it is a little worse now, all things considered. I could go into an entire tirade of how worse mental health issues are and the possible causes. Dietary changes, microplastics, reliance on technology, disconnection from nature, reality dating shows, climate change, Amazon's terrible Rings of Power show, a rise in gun violence, a rise in poverty, a rise in the cost of just about fucking everything. But I won't. I mean, if you ever can't sleep, just put on Amazon's Rings of Power. Any fucking episode, it doesn't matter. It's like televised Xanax. Although now, when I do have a Taco Bell-fueled power shit, I love to yell, "There is a tempest within me." Which, while amusing for a moment, just brings on more depression because holy shit did that show suck some serious ass. I mean, if you enjoyed it, if it brought you happiness, good for you. But you should reevaluate your tastes in consumable media. It might be why you're so fucking sad. Once again, my book, my opinions. And yes, I felt the need to shit on their show twice. Deal with it. In conclusion, I asked a stupid question. I don't know the answer. I think that in the pursuit of asking, I've just come to the admission that early human was the worst ever, and the Rings of Power television show was the second worst thing ever. I do not know why sadness and depression are so prevalent. I do not know or have the answers on how to make things fundamentally better. Effectively, I am admitting that this self-help book is a failure. Just like a lot of things in life are failures, and I'm okay with that. It makes me a bit sad and a bit depressed, but at least I'm not getting surprise anal from a bear. So if I cannot understand sadness, can I at least end us in a place where we might understand happiness? Part 11. Understanding Happiness and Happiness. In our search, we've sifted through childhood memories. We have explored the topic of healthy eating and the benefits and bullshits of exercise routines. Hobbies and escapism were good candidates for happiness. We plumbed the anus of money and success and came up a bit short and a little stinky. We even looked at medications. We pondered the effectiveness of self-help books such as this turd rocket. We weighed the happiness one might gain from the noble act of volunteering. We enjoyed cats. Well, I enjoyed talking about cats. I don't care what you got out of it. We covered one of my favorite topics, weed. I also smoked a lot of it while writing this. I also said fuck your mother an unacceptable number of times. We've even speculated what sadness means, for whatever the fuck that was worth. Quite honestly, we've been through a lot. I don't feel like I know you well, and I hope you don't feel like you know me at all. But we have come to it at last, the last topic. What have we learned? Have we learned anything at all? I can state one thing that has come up constantly in my research. There are plenty of things that can help depression and anxiety. This is a good thing, but does it equate to happiness? Is it enough to just not be stressed or to be comforted by financial security? To be seen as successful or to feel like we've accomplished something? In the end, I think that we've learned that time is ultimately what makes us sad. On a long enough timeline in our lives, time will do something horrible to us. It will steal away the people that we love. Or, more importantly, the pets we care about. It will rob us of the way we saw the world when we were young. It robs us of the time when we were wide-eyed and everything and anything seemed possible. It even has the cruelty to speed up as we get older. Each year seems to be shorter than the last. Now that we have identified a cause of sadness, how do we re-find happiness? How can we grow with this knowledge like a morning erection and burst through the undergarments of depression and rise high into the air? Ultimately, I think we can't. We cannot be young again. We can be happy, but it will always be fleeting. I think that is how it is meant to be. There are plenty of things that can bring us happiness and keep depression and anxiety at bay, but I do not believe there is a permanent solution. There is no silver bullet or enough ice cream and pot in the world to keep someone happy all the time. Sadness is just a part of life that we live with. It is just as shit as our jobs or the bad things we go through. But if we were only happy all the time, would we grow numb to happiness? I think it's a fair question that deserves thought. Celebrities grow numb to success, and accomplished people often need to seek out that next accomplishment to keep feeling like their life matters. Rewatching the same film or playing the same game over and over will eventually give you diminishing returns. It won't hit as hard emotionally on the 10th time as it did the first time. The same with books. I believe that happiness was meant to be short and fleeting. As sad as that realization may be, it makes us appreciate the feeling more. There is a medical condition called PGAD, persistent genital arousal disorder. This is pretty much what you think it is, and is as uncomfortable to the point of being fucking terrible. I believe that is what being happy all the time would be like. Sometimes you don't want to be happy, just like sometimes you don't want to feel like you're being aroused sexually while watching Schindler's List, due to a disease you cannot control. The only advice that I will impart is to do what makes you happy when you can, whatever it is. Even if it is reading Twilight or the many abominations it spawned like 50 Shades of Fuck You. Or even if you like dogs more than cats, heathen. Remember the happier moments of your childhood. Try and enjoy the things that you used to. You might still actually enjoy them. Read as many self-help books as you want. Just remember, they probably won't fix you. You're not a clock or a radio. You're a flawed bag of meat and other shit. Deal with it. Also, fuck your mother. Not literally, though. That's fucking disgusting. Also, again, stop it with the incest porn. I hope an asteroid hits the Earth soon and we all die. That would make me happy. It would be fleeting, of course, but I would smile as it all burns. Finally, I think that is what happiness is. It is rainy weather and cloudy days for a week, then an hour of warm sunshine on your back when you walk down a sidewalk on a warm day with a nice breeze, the smell of some kind of flower in your nose. It is whatever makes you happy for a moment. It is whatever you appreciate, no matter how fleeting and short-lived it is. Of course, life will get you down. I think it will always find a way to beat people down. Time will always be there to remind you of what you've lost and how little time you actually have to enjoy life. I guess I will end it by just saying, next time you're feeling down, just imagine an excruciatingly sad event, like the funeral of a loved one, someone you were very close to. Now imagine having a series of orgasms as they are being lowered into the ground as you come uncontrollably and make a complete mess of your pants and remind yourself, at least I don't have PGAD. Also, consider therapy. I don't understand these issues you have with your mother, but you should sort that out. Have the best life you can. The world is probably going to end soon anyway.